Believe you can and you're halfway there. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. Nobody cares how much you know, until they know how much you care. Keep your eyes on the stars, and your feet on the ground. In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing, the next best thing is the wrong thing, and the worst thing you can do is nothing. Far better is it to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much, because they live in a gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. Far and away the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. No man is above the law and no man is below it, nor do we ask any man's permission when we ask him to obey it. If you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month. Speak softly and carry a big stick, you will go far. To educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate a menace to society. The only man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. It is only through labor and painful effort, by grim energy and resolute courage, that we move on to better things. A thorough knowledge of the Bible is worth more than a college education. It is hard to fail, but it is worse never to have tried to succeed. Never throughout history has a man who lived a life of ease left a name worth remembering. The most important single ingredient in the formula of success is knowing how to get along with people. People ask the difference between a leader and a boss. The leader leads, and the boss drives. A man who has never gone to school may steal from a freight car, but if he has a university education, he may steal the whole railroad. When you are asked if you can do a job, tell him, "Certainly I can," then get busy and find out how to do it. A vote is like a rifle. Its usefulness depends upon the character of the user. Old age is like everything else. To make a success of it, you've got to start young. Great thoughts speak only to the thoughtful mind, but great actions speak to all mankind. With self-discipline, most anything is possible. When you play, play hard. When you work, don't play at all. The things that will destroy America are prosperity at any price, peace at any price, safety first instead of duty first, the love of soft living, and the get-rich-quick theory of life. Get action. Seize the moment. Man was never intended to become an oyster. The boy who is going to make a great man must not make up his mind merely to overcome 1,000 obstacles, but to win in spite of 1,000 repulses and defeats. The only time you really live fully is from 30 to 60. The young are slaves to dreams, the old servants of regrets. Only the middle-aged have all their 5 senses in the keeping of their wits. The man who loves other countries as much as his own stands on a level with the man who loves other women as much as he loves his own wife. The government is us, we are the government, you and I. The best executive is one who has sense enough to pick good people, to do what he wants done, and self-restraint enough to keep from meddling with them while they do it. The unforgivable crime is soft hitting. Do not hit at all if it can be avoided, but never hit softly. I took the canal zone and let Congress debate, and while the debate goes on, the canal does also. I am a part of everything that I have read. We can have no 50-50 allegiance in this country. Either a man is an American and nothing else, or he is not an American at all. If there is not the war, you don't get the great general. If there is not a great occasion, you don't get a great statesman. If Lincoln had lived in a time of peace, no one would have known his name. Courtesy is as much a mark of a gentleman as courage. Big jobs usually go to the men who prove their ability to outgrow small ones. When they call the roll in the Senate, the senators do not know whether to answer present or not guilty. The first requisite of a good citizen in this republic of ours is that he shall be able and willing to pull his own weight. Absence and death are the same, only that in death there is no suffering. Obedience of the law is demanded, not asked as a favor. I think there is only one quality worse than hardness of heart, and that is softness of head. It behooves every man to remember that the work of the critic is of altogether secondary importance, and that, in the end, progress is accomplished by the man who does things. Don't hit at all if it is honorably possible to avoid hitting, but never hit soft. Every immigrant who comes here should be required within 5 years to learn English or leave the country. Order without liberty and liberty without order are equally destructive. 9/10 of wisdom is being wise in time. No man is worth his salt who is not ready at all times to risk his well-being, to risk his body, to risk his life, in a great cause. I care not what others think of what I do, but I care very much about what I think of what I do. That is character. The reactionary is always willing to take a progressive attitude on any issue that is dead. Rhetoric is a poor substitute for action, and we have trusted only to rhetoric. If we are really to be a great nation, we must not merely talk, we must act big. Character, in the long run, is the decisive factor in the life of an individual and of nations alike. Every reform movement has a lunatic fringe. A man who is good enough to shed his blood for the country is good enough to be given a square deal afterwards. Behind the ostensible government sits enthroned and invisible government, owing no allegiance and acknowledging no responsibility to the people. No man is justified in doing evil on the ground of expedience. I don't pity any man who does hard work worth doing. I admire him. I pity the creature who does not work, at whichever end of the social scale he may regard himself as being. Probably the greatest harm done by vast wealth is the harm that we of moderate means do ourselves when we let the vices of envy and hatred enter deep into our own natures. Theodore Roosevelt, often referred to as Teddy Roosevelt, was the 26th President of the United States. He served from 1901 to 1909 and is known for his progressive policies and energetic leadership style. Roosevelt was a prominent figure in the progressive era, advocating for social and economic reforms to address the growing inequalities of the time. He championed conservation efforts, leading to the establishment of national parks and the creation of the United States Forest Service. Roosevelt also played a significant role in foreign affairs, asserting American power and influence on the global stage. He was a strong advocate for the big stick diplomacy approach, which emphasized a strong military presence and assertive foreign policy.